Hey everybody, thanks for hopping on tonight. And this is another week of our weekly team training and inspiration. And it is very exciting because we are fresh off of convention. So if you have not been watching the breakout sessions, you absolutely need to. They are amazing. And I have had a really great time just going through each one of them this week. And some of them I've even kind of watched half of them and had to like rewind and rewatch the first half because I really loved all the material in it and stopped to take notes and everything. And my Mega Kids microbiome products came today for my kiddos, and they absolutely love them. They love the flavors. I'm excited to give it to them every day. I got them cute little kids blender bottles on Amazon, so now they shake up their drinks while mommy shakes up her drink, and they absolutely love it. And I've been using the new app to offer samples and send samples to some prospects. And it's very easy to use, and I'm absolutely loving it. And I love that the sample credits are cheaper than it would be for me to buy and pack and send a sample myself. So I would definitely look into getting the Plexus Engage app if you have not. You're signing in with your back office login information. And if you didn't register for convention, so you don't have those 3 free sample credits, you can go buy sample credits. But again, they're cheaper than you would be spending on packing supplies, shipping costs, and the Slim, and it's 2 sticks of Slim. It's 2 sticks of Slim. So it's an incredible deal. And so it's huge savings, and you get tracking and all that. So highly, highly recommend. I love that when you send a video that you can see if they watched it or if they went to your website or whatever. I absolutely love the kind of the paper trail that it leaves, and it tells you how each person is interacting with your content. So get into the app if you haven't. Start offering samples or sending samples. I really loved, I don't know, I mean, hopefully everybody here registered for convention, but I actually really love Susie Orman as our keynote speaker. I thought that was really good. And her Q&A breakout session is really good. So I'd recommend that. I think that's just a really good, all the topics she brings up are good to know. And I love their her financial book for kids too. I thought that was really great too. So I believe the breakout sessions are only available this week. Maybe that'll change, but I heard that they were only available for 7 days post-convention. So I would get on watching them. And the ones I would be absolutely sure not to miss, you guys. Number 1, every single person needs to listen to this. Genevieve Scory's Selling Authentically. If you have not listened to that one yet, you have got to listen to that. Absolutely. And then the second one is Erin King did How to Turn Your Social Media Influence into Business. That was amazing. I loved her take on, I loved seeing people who are outside of our industry, their perspective on how to write content, how to have conversations, the phrasing to use, what words to use, what not to use. I really love that because, as you guys know, I love like wordsmithing things. I love content. I love writing copy. I love writing scripts. Like I dig into that stuff, and I really like the psychology behind it. What words would provoke someone to do something or say something or think something, and what wouldn't, all that. So I really enjoyed that. The 90-day rank up training is really good. I already talked about the financial wellness Q&A from Susie Orman. I like that one. Recruiting business builders was another good one. One little snippet of that I loved is Eva Schmidt she's from Canada. She talked about, well, if you're not sharing the business if you're not sharing about the opportunity, how weird is it if we get someone to join our organization for the products and they love the products and you're like, okay, I'm so glad you joined for the products. Would you like to sell them? Like, how awkward is that if you have never presented the opportunity to them ever before or talked about it on any kind of consistent basis? It's a really hard transition. So be sure that you are sharing about the opportunity, and they talk about how to do that, how to speak about it, and all that. So that's really good on recruiting business builders. And obviously Kendra Hall was wonderful. If you've heard Kendra Hall before, she's great. But she also has a What Makes Your Story Great. That's what it's called. What Makes Your Story Great breakout session. That is wonderful. I have seen her speak a few times now, and every single time I get little nuggets and I'm writing them down about how to write better content, write better stories, tell better stories, share better stories, all that. So since we are nearing the end of this month and we have a ton of momentum happening on our team, in the company, on each one of your teams, I definitely want to get into conversations, follow up, and closing, because I know that's on a lot of our minds right now, especially if we are trying to close people or we're helping our new ambassadors close people. I know that a lot of us right now are in the situation where we have people joining our team and they're asking us how to have conversations. They're asking us how to follow up. They're asking us how to close. And a lot of us are really good closers or really good enrollers, or we feel like we've got a grasp on how to have conversations, right? But we need to remember that the people that might be joining our teams have no idea how to do that. They don't know what to say, what not to say. And so I consider myself a pretty good closer. I have been in this business for 4.5 years and have a pretty good record with enrollments. And I know that's a strong point for me. There's other areas that I suffer, but enrollments is not one of them. And so I feel passionate about this topic and very confident that I can help in this area. So there's a couple reasons that I feel like I'm able to close pretty well. And I have honed in on what to say, what not to say, and how to say things because I've said it wrong so many times, or because I've said too much when I shouldn't have said that much, or because I used the wrong verbiage that was a little standoffish or a little too pressuring or a little too much, whatever, right? I've made the mistakes. I've done the things where people aren't responding or they're not answering my questions, or I just like vomit Plexus on them. Like I've been there, I've done it. And so I have, developed somewhat of a loose script. It's not perfect, but I've gotten pretty good at it and it works really well. And I run it the same almost every single time. And so the phrasing, the more you use some of these phrases and some of these scripts and tweak them to sound like you, the better you're going to get at just rattling off things when people give you objections or when they ask you questions. And the more comfortable you are at using some of these phrases that I've even posted on the team page and stuff, the easier they're going to start coming to you when you start speaking in certain ways. And so I think another reason why I've gotten pretty good is that if someone's not ready, I don't pressure them to be ready to receive the information or to be ready to join or to keep having a conversation with me. If they're at a place where they're just not ready to listen to what I have to offer, then I don't let that get me down. I keep going until I find someone that is ready, right? I don't stop with my 3-4 potentials and I'm like, oh, no one is responding to me. I don't know what's going on. There's no one's ready to jump yet. Everyone's on the fence. Well, guess what? I'm going to go out there and find a dozen more people. And one of those has got to be ready to jump, right? So I don't ever let that get me down. And so I think having taken years to learn how to have conversations, what to say, what not to say, and knowing that of course not every person is going to be ready to hear this. Of course not every person is going to be ready to jump in, and knowing that, not taking it personally, and knowing that I need to move forward and find people that are ready. Those are two of the big reasons why I think I have been such a good enroller, a good closer, a good team builder. And I have an example script that is on our Elite page, pinned as an announcement at the top. And I created this and shared it and have revised it a few times because it is literally what I use. It's what I use with my potentials. It's what I use in 3-way chats. It's how I teach my level 1s to talk. And most conversations for me start and move forward in almost the exact same way. Again, watch Genevieve's breakout session because it's amazing. And I loved her analogy of sales conversations or selling in general. And by the way, if you're having a problem with using the word selling, I love that Genevieve said this, but like we're literally selling products. So get over yourself. You are a salesperson. So you can call it sharing if you want. You can call it whatever you want. But you have a website and there are things people can buy on it. So therefore you are selling. Okay. So get rid of whatever negative connotation you have with that word. But sales conversations, like she said in that training, are like a recipe. You have to use the right ingredients, put them in the right order and the right quantity, and you can't go changing things or it doesn't work the same. You can't put things out of order. You can't do too much. You can't do too little. You can't do it at the wrong time. You can't add in new things. You can't be slicing it up. Like there's a reason why I've shared scripts that work, tools that work, phrases that work, and the cadence of the conversation. And when I share pricing, when I share product information, when I ask, there's a whole reason behind it. There's a methodology behind it. And it's the reason why I have it pinned as for the very first announcement on our team page, because I've been using it for years and it works. The way I ask questions, I say very little. I let them say most of the things about themselves, and I listen a lot on purpose. I give them just the information they need, nothing more, nothing less. And I always end every single communication with a question so that the ball is in their court to respond to me. So the process for me, whether they message me or I message them, is going to be very similar. Either they're asking, if a product can help them with a certain ailment, or I'm reaching out to them and saying, would you be interested in hearing more about this? Obviously we have scripts that you can go off of, but they want to know if this is something that can help them. They want to know if you can provide them a solution to a problem. And so making sure that you're not spouting off ingredient information is very important. When someone expresses interest, the first thing I'm going to do is ask what areas of their health they're experiencing things in. What areas of the health of your health do you want to target? What things do you want to see improvement in? Like, just get a basic overview, right? And then they're going to hopefully tell you what are the few things that they're struggling with. And then you can either at that point grab a testimony that of somebody you know that relates to their ailments, or I love using the symptom chart. I know that some people don't use it, but I think it gives a really good snapshot. You can, say, yes, Plexus will absolutely help with those things. I have a few product combos in mind for you, and they each skew a different direction. So here's a great chart that gives a little bit of a snapshot of the things that Plexus can help with. Do you also experience any of these? This will help me recommend the right products for you. And so I love that chart because it gives like a big snapshot. You can absolutely send a video. I know that some of the Plexus trainings talk about using videos, and that's wonderful, but I love something that someone can look at a glance. They don't need to stop, turn on sound, find a quiet place, wait 3 minutes. Like, they don't have to do any of that. They literally can just look at it, glance, oh yeah, I struggle with XYZ. Great, it's quick. And then my next question is, I usually relate to them and say something about how Plexus has either helped me or a friend with their same things, right? They want to feel heard, they want to hear listened to, but they don't want you to spout off a science lesson about how Plexus is going to help them, right? So telling them a little bit about who you know, if it's you or someone else who has walked through the same journey, has seen results, you're excited for them to experience the same thing, right? Letting them know that this will help them because you have seen it help yourself or people you know in the past or currently. And then often, depending on what kind of vibe they're giving me, if they're just like, I want energy and weight loss yesterday, like they're like the person, like there's those people who want to lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks, and we have to talk them off a ledge a little bit, but you know who those people are, who they're just like, I want this right now. And sometimes I'll move straight into product recommendations depending on our conversation, but often the next question I will ask them is if they take any medications. Because if I have learned anything, is that people never tell you the whole story the first time you talk to them. If you ask them what they struggle with, they'll say, oh, I wish I had more energy, I want to lose some weight. Okay, great. A lot of our combos help with that. Show you this chart, obviously. Tell me what else you experience because I can recommend some different things. And then they're like, oh, well, I have sugar and carb cravings, kind of struggle with anxiety and like a little bit of tummy troubles, right? And so you're like, great, it helped me with those things, or XYZ person with those things. Do you take any medications? Come to find out, they're on IBS medication, they take depression medication, they take sleeping pills, they take chronic pain medications, right? Like, they're on all this stuff, and you get a better snapshot of what they're struggling with. So that's a really important question. I've actually had a couple of level ones ask me why I asked that question, and they don't have to tell me. They're like, is it weird to ask people what medications they're on? I'm like, well, they're asking me for health products, so I don't think so, because I kind of need to know what they're on. So I think that's a very important question, because people will say they want one thing, but they're struggling in all these other areas that we know play in to why their body's in the certain state that it's in right now. So that's usually my kind of next phase. And beyond there, I'm relating to them. I'm expressing my, kind of my care for them, that I'm thankful that they shared this with me. I know that this is going to help them. I'm excited for them to start. I'm so sorry they've been struggling with those things. Sometimes I ask how long you've been struggling with that. Have you tried to help that in any other way in the past? Have you tried any other programs? And, what didn't work about those? If you get a good grasp on how their consistency is going to be, what they like, what they don't like. You just want to get an all-around picture, and you don't want to be just spewing information at them. You want to be asking them questions about them, because what this allows them to do is literally watch themselves tell you all the things that they need help with, and you offer them a solution, and they're basically selling themselves, right? So that's the whole point. So then I'm going to shoot them always a $199 welcome pack. And I do this on purpose, because not only is it the best value for them and gives them the best opportunity to find something they love, but it also gives them a variety of products to find exposure to and kind of grasp onto a few things. and it gives you somewhere to dial back to fall back on if they give you the price objection. If you start with triplex $99 and they're like, I don't know, can't afford it, you have nowhere to go. You've got nowhere to go except for being a customer or buying a sample pack. I always start with a $199 because, again, it is going to give them the biggest variety. It's going to give them exposure to more products. So even if you do end up dialing back to a $99 welcome pack, they've had exposure to some other things that their brain might be thinking, oh, maybe next month I'll try that. Or maybe when I get a bigger paycheck, I'm going to try this one or whatever, right? So they're already thinking about other products, other product combos. I have a lot of people who maybe don't want to do a $199, but they do a $99 and add on an active, or they add on the ease or whatever, right? I have a lot of people that do that. And so even if they're not going to get the $199, it sets them up for more success in the future. And a lot of times you will be surprised when people just want to jump in. Yeah, sounds great. Send me the link. How do I order? And so I want us to not shy away from the larger welcome packs because they are the best deal by far. We know that they offer the biggest value. And I even looked at my own numbers that the people that get $199 welcome packs are more likely to have a subscription on in the coming months. I've looked at my own enrollments and seen that to be the case. People who get the larger welcome packs stay on for a longer period of time. And usually it's because, sure, if you get the Renew You Essentials, maybe they're like, oh, I don't really need BioCleanse right now because I only take one a day. Well, great. Then they didn't start with the triplex, and now they're down to only Slim and Pro 5. They've got Lean and MetaBurn and Active, right, to fill their subscription with also. So it helps your business for the long haul, but it also helps them find the products they need every single month and keep them consistently ordering. And so I want to just stress that point to you. Always start with a $199 welcome pack. Obviously, there's some very unique situations where that might not be appropriate for whatever they're needing. But work with your sponsor, work with me, whoever, ask our leaders chat if you need help with recommendations. But most of the time, I'm starting with Renew You Essentials, Variety Pack, the Family Essentials, or the Joyome Collagen Pack. What is it called? I'm drawing a blank. Somebody tell me. But it's the, not Beauty from Within. Is that what it is? There's Microbiome Essentials that has Triplex, Joyome, Vital Biome. Like, that one's really good too. So I'm starting with those larger packs every single time. And that's a really important thing to note because it gives you somewhere to go afterwards, and it gives them a higher probability of success. So I also, after I recommend a welcome pack, I also have a method for presenting pricing. There's a reason why. There is psychology behind this. Coming from an advertising, PR, and psychology major, believe me, there is a method behind the madness of the presentation of pricing. And there's a reason why I say, great, the retail value of these products would be XYZ, usually over $340 or whatever it is, right? But with our wholesale membership, it's just like Costco. You pay $40 for the entire year. You know, you get the lowest prices. You can get this combo for only $199. Such a steal. Like, you are showing them the value, right? They already know what they're getting. I didn't tell them pricing before I sent them the welcome pack. I didn't send them pricing with the welcome pack. I left off pricing completely because I want them to understand the value of the products before we even discuss pricing. And then I'm showing them, if they're a regular customer, this is how much they would cost, but I can get it for you this much. And then I offer in what any discounts are that we have going on. So it dials down the price even more. So the same methodology of us starting with a $199 welcome pack and being able to dial back from there, we're starting with the retail price and showing them how much cheaper they can get it for, right? There's a whole reason why sales companies do this. When they show you the value that you're getting, they show you the difference in price. They show you what the deals are. You don't just spout out, oh yeah, this combo is $199. They have no frame of reference for that. They don't know at all what kind of discount they're getting, what kind of deal they're getting. So I urge you to please present pricing in that sort of way that conveys the value that they're receiving with the wholesale membership. That is very, very important, and not just send them a welcome pack graphic that has $199 welcome pack on it. Because the second they open that graphic, their eyes are gonna go straight to the $199, and they're not even gonna read anything on that graphic. They're not even gonna read it, and they're gonna say, oh, can't afford that. Okay, so that's really important, and I want you to know, and I want you to stress that to the people on your team as well, because there's reason behind that. And if they do give you any type of price objection and they say, oh, it's a little much for me right now, I don't know if I can do that, I say, great, we have smaller, more condensed versions of these packs with 3 products for $99. Is that a more comfortable starting point for you? A lot of times they're like, oh yeah, that's a way better deal. I'd love to start there. And if I get 3 products, maybe I'll add on the ease since it's a lower price point. Like that happens to me all the time. So definitely do that. And at that point, if they're not sure, these are the people that you send an extra testimony to, you offer a sample, you invite to a 3-day group, you invite to an online event, all of that. That's where you have your next exposures, right? And so if you're sending any one of those things, testimony, sample, 3-day online event, that gives you reason to follow up. Ask how they like their sample. Obviously you're checking with them through a 3-day. Ask if anything stood out to them in an online event. You know, what did they relate to the most? What did they find most interesting? If you're sending them videos and testimonies, did you find that you could relate to that? Is that something, you know, would you like to know what she's taking? Because I think it can help you too. Those kinds of questions, they give you permission to follow up with the person. So it's important to keep that open. And if it's not the right time for them and something is going on in their life, you know, we have people who are losing jobs, who are going back to work, who are having births, deaths, divorces, weddings, like all the things, like everything moves, everything's going on in people's lives, right? And we don't understand what could be happening to people. Ask, when is a better time to reconnect with you? That is very important. And schedule that follow-up. Write it down, set a reminder, do all the things. And if they're like, you know, maybe summer, because I've got X, Y, Z going on. And some people, I know that to us, it's like, your health is so important. Like, why are you so busy to care about your own wellness? But you know what, guys? Some people can't even fathom inserting another thing into their brain right now. People are under stress. And I think as moms, we know that really well. We know the emotional, the intellectual, the just pressure that can be on you, the stress that can be on you, the overload that can be on you. And some people are like, I can't even think about one more thing right now. Like, just not a good time. And that's okay. And those are the people that you don't want to keep pushing, because then they are never going to join you, because they're going to remember when they were too stressed to think about it and you were being super salesy and following up with them every 2 days. Hey, it's end of the month. Hey, I've got another free shipping. Hey, I've got $10 off, when they're like, I told you this is not a good time for me. Okay. So I want you to avoid that as well, because I know that sometimes it's exciting in rank up months and it's exciting when the momentum is high, but you've got to accept when people aren't ready. So that's really, really important too. Ask them when is a more appropriate time to check in with them. And then you're all relationship building until that time. You're watching their stories, you're messaging them, you are checking in with them every so often to see how they're doing, you're commenting on their pictures, they're all the things, right? You're just building the relationship, because when they're not ready, it just means they need more exposure. And part of that exposure is you being consistent in reaching out to them, building the relationship, but also sharing information that they will be interested in. And this is where it's important that you're sharing information and testimonies and all the things that is relevant for your network and the people you are talking to. There's a reason why I share information about young moms, people who are pregnant and nursing, people who are postpartum, people with little toddlers at home. There's the whole reason why that's all I share is stuff like that. I'm not sharing about people who are bodybuilding. Like, I don't do that. And that's fine, but if that's your crowd, you need to share it with that crowd. If your crowd is teachers, you're talking to the teachers, right? And so if whoever your people are, you're sharing those things. And as you're building relationships with people who maybe aren't ready, they're going to be watching. They're always watching. And so I want you to consider consistency in sharing information that's relevant to your network is part of your follow-up. Okay, so consistently sharing, consistently posting, consistently being present in your stories and on your feed, and also in their stories and on their feed, that is part of your follow-up. And so when they're ready, they're going to remember to come to you and not Sarah down the street who happens to mention Plexus walking by, because they've seen you posting over and over and over and over and over again. So hope that helps. And I'm so excited for you to listen to Sally's tips, because you guys, I might have posted this, but I think it was 15 people me and Sally enrolled in the last 48 hours of May. Like, her and I were just like rocket fire, just one after the other. And we were just closing like crazy. And I was like, Sally, you got to come on here and give us all your tips for closing, because I am a believer in all the follow-up. You can tell I am about urgency, following up to questions, answering questions, sending information. Let's get this going. And I'm all about the touching back. And so I love that Sally's got some really concrete tips for how to do that, when to do that, what to say, all the things. And so I want her to just take it away and give you all of her tips because she's amazing.
Hello. So a lot of what I have to say is going to be kind of just like echoing what Allie said too. But yeah, last month was wild and it was awesome. And it was just kind of like head down for the last couple of days, like not like coming out of the little room, but it was amazing. And what I noticed was last month was kind of like, I was teaching full time before that. So it was kind of like a month when I was able to like have a full month of really just like getting back into my business and like fully focusing on Plexus, and it felt really good. And it allowed me to kind of like go back and analyze like what like methodically was I doing that was working. And it was really great to reflect in that way. So I'm going to kind of just like go over some overarching things that I did and then get down to some like nitty gritty points. Like, okay, they're ready to do this. Like, what exactly did I do that worked? Okay, so just to start with, I'm going to kind of like back off to the beginning of the month and what I have been doing to get the pool of people that I'm going to be connecting with throughout the month. And then seeing who's ready at that point to kind of like close the deal when it comes time. So at the beginning of the month, what I did and what I've done a few times in the past, which is super effective, is to actually go through my friends list, which can be super daunting. And I've talked to Kelly about this a few times in the past, but that's my Facebook friends list, which has gotten really huge. So the task has seemed overwhelming in the past, but like if you really go through your Facebook's friends list, like just skim past the Plexus people because we all have a lot of those at this point, but and then write down anyone who you think might be interested in Plexus again, because every single time I do this, I come up with just this huge pool of people where either people I talked to a long, long time ago or people who said they were interested, but it wasn't the right time, or people that I forgot about, because that happens when we're reaching out to a ton of people. So I start with pulling that. And then this month, I pulled out every single notebook I've ever used and every IPA sheet I've ever used for Plexus 2. And I went through that. And that came up with a whole bunch of potentials. And I have a method where I highlight people who are interested, usually. So there were quite a few of those people that I had missed too. So that right there was a really great way for me to get a list of potentials that I knew were interested, some that I had forgotten about, and some who I knew were ready to kind of move forward. And then I had to remind myself to not be afraid to remessage people who ignored me, because, you know, we get ignored a lot. But it's not because I'm pestering them, because I've sent that message a few times. I don't mean to pester you about Plexus. We just have this amazing thing happening right now. And most of the time they come back with, you're not pestering me at all. Like, and I know that because my product has like huge value, but sometimes it's good to get that reassurance when you're getting ignored so often. But anyway, so I have to remind myself to not be afraid of remessaging those people who ignore me, especially when we're having these amazing specials and awesome new products. It's just like a great opportunity for us to reach back to these people again. So then I took that list that I'd made and the like knowledge that I need to like remessage some people, and I planned out who I was going to reach out to. So that was like just day to day in my calendar. Like, these are the people that I need to follow up with. These are the people I'm going to reach out to. And it was a lot the last month. Like, normally I shoot for 3 to 5 a day, but when I was like trying to rank up, you know, like it had to be more than that. So just like know that like the people you're reaching out to and messaging has to be a reflection of where you want to go with this business. Like, if you're okay with just like kind of slowly plugging along, then you're not going to be reaching out to as many people. But if you want to like grow, I think Allie has said before, and I grabbed onto this, success loves speed. And that's like something I've been like, bam, I got to do it. You know, if I want to move forward, I need to be reaching out to a few more people. So I really just like write out the people. I don't have my notebook here with me, but I would show you. So it just looks like who I'm going to reach out to. In that way, it allows me to interact with people who are in the future, like in a friendly way, so that it's not just like Plexus all the time. I see who I'm going to like kind of reach out to see if they want to order, and I can connect with them in just a friendly way, just like day-to-day connection type of method. And interestingly, last month, the people who signed up with me and enrolled with me are people that I was like connecting with outside of Plexus. Like whether it be people from my past, like friends, or people that I like had worked with this year in a teaching field, they're the ones who enrolled with me, because they, even if it had just been like 2 weeks of us kind of interacting or a few days, they were like, yes, I know Sally as other than Plexus, and yes, I want to connect with her in that way. I did have some people who were new connections who enrolled also, who I really don't know outside of messaging, but that was also because of the interactions and connections we had made. Like some people I knew through like moms groups, and somebody I knew through a gardening group. They just like felt like they could connect with me, and that I like they could trust me and trust to purchase Plexus from me because they know me outside of Plexus, even if we've never met face to face. So sorry, my next talking point. Also, what I've learned in that is that most of these people who also signed up with me have told me no at some point in the past. And I used to get really like sad about that. Oh man, like this really sucks. Like it's something I did wrong. Totally not something I did wrong. Totally just life, you know, like they're just like, it's not the right time for them. And what a lot of people do, and what I was like at fault for doing in the past, was like taking that no to mean forever no. And often it's just like not the right time, because those people are coming back to me later and ordering. So a lot of those people who I enrolled last month either had been like preferred customers or customers in the past, and they hadn't ordered for a long time, and they decided like, yeah, I want to do this again. It's a good time for me now. And I had the courage to reach out to them again. So I didn't give up on them, I guess, in a nutshell. Like often it can seem like, oh my gosh, I'm pestering them, you know, but it was like the fact that I didn't give up on them, and the fact that they really need these products, and these products hold value. So that was another thing that, like, a huge point that I learned. Also, something that I think has been a huge benefit is when people say no, like, no, thank you. Sometimes I was like so busy, you know, like trying to message the next people or whatever, like busy with life. I didn't want to do this, but every single person I messaged back, thank you so much for getting back to me. Like, it's not the right time for you. I get it. I just really appreciate you contacting me back. And that like allows them, because often they feel bad, like especially if you have had a conversation for a long time and like sent them info sheets and stuff like that, they kind of feel bad that it's not the right time for them. But you have to give them value as a human and understand their situation. And even if that's a quick little message back to them after they say no, that keeps the pathway open in the future for them to order again through you, because they know that you respected them and respected their decisions. So that's something I really try to do every time, just to keep that avenue open. Let's see. So, Allie's script that she posted on the Elite page is just golden. Like, it's so awesome. So that's like, I have it saved under my like Facebook post. I have it saved. So what I do is I go back to that, and just to see not robotic, often I'll add myself to it. Like, because people can kind of tell if you're like taking somebody else's script word for word and not making it your own at all. So just adding a little bit of Sally or your personality to it was really big. And also I started to not be afraid to share my goals with people. Like, this is what I'm trying to get to. I know you were really interested in the products before. It wasn't the right time. I'm trying to hit this goal, and I know you wanted these products. Is it the right time for you now? Like, and then for a lot of them it was, because a lot of people really do want to help you out and help you achieve the goals that you're like working for you and your family. So I started to like not be afraid, because it seemed like it was like a little selfish at first, but totally not. And a lot of the people I'd been working with had considered ordering in the past, so they wanted to help me. And then this is getting down to kind of like the nitty gritty details of when people are like kind of ready, or have had conversations with them before. This is pretty specific, but for us who are like in messaging, or it's like our power hour or work period, going and seeing whose little green dot is lit up is enormous. And what I mean by that is like the people who are active on Facebook or Messenger, because those are the people who are messaging me back. So I have my list of people who are like almost ready to order, and then I see that they're on, and I know that it's going to be harder for them to like put me aside for a little bit, and so I message them, and usually they'll message me back. rather than like ghosting me. So kind of like tuning in to those little green dots and just knowing who your people are who are ready to enroll, and then messaging them when they're on at the same time was really huge and continues to be huge for me. Next point, sorry, I'm going super fast. I can slow down. I talk fast, like in life, it's always been a thing. Incentives to fence sitters has proved to be huge. And I was like, I mean, I always offer them, and I try to be a little bit careful, because if it's someone who I think is just ordering because it's like a really good deal, sometimes I'll like hold back a little bit. But if it's someone who I think is really committed to those 90 days at least, I'm not afraid to send them an incentive. And I like try to preface it in a way like, I'm just like really excited for you to start this health journey, and I know how beneficial it will be for you because of this, this, and this. So I want to take care of your shipping for you, or I would love to just like shoot you this $10 if it makes it a little bit easier for you to get started. And oftentimes that is kind of what like hops them off the fence. And we have such a supportive team who also offers incentives. So a lot of times it's kind of just like piggybacking on that, and knowing that it is building your business and it's also a tax write-off is huge. And then just to reiterate what Ali said, scheduling a time to check back with people is enormous. Like, can I check back with you like next week? Or like they tell me like after payday. Cool. Like when's your payday? Tactfully, I try to say that, like I'll reach back to you then, since it'll be easier for you to order. And that also, like, it lets them know that your time is valuable and you respect their time and their schedule. So that's been huge. And that allows you to end the conversation in a question too, which is something that is enormous, because like nothing kills a deal or kills a conversation than saying, let me know, just let me know if you're ready. Like, let me know, because they're not going to let you know. Like, sorry, I hate saying that, but like very rarely will they let you know. Like, I mean, maybe like a year from now when they see like a post they connect with, but it's up to you, if you want to build your business, to be brave and reach out to them and know that like the products hold value for them, and that you can get their order in if you just like schedule that. Phone calls are huge. Those are like pretty hard for me, and I don't do that as often, but especially if I want them to like place the order and place it properly. If they don't want to send me their information, oftentimes I'll call them, because they don't want to send their information like over Messenger or email. Some people don't want to do that. So then it's a phone call and we can get it done that way. But also, so I say often, like, to close the conversation, can I help you get your order placed? Like, do you think, like, are you ready to do this today? Are you ready to do this tonight? Like, let's get it done. And then I always try to do their order for them, always. Because we've all had like the people who like just get super frustrated or sign up as a customer instead of an ambassador. And like the one thing that I've really tuned into is that like I had one person who insisted they do it on their own, tell me it was the most frustrating experience like of their entire life, and they almost quit at multiple times. And I was like, dude, that's why I offered, but not going to rub it in. So what I want is for them, like, to give them good customer service. And I don't want their first experience with Plexus to be frustrating, to be something that was like the worst experience of their life. So, which like we have enrolled people and we're good at it, and it can take us like 5 to 7 minutes to do. But if they do it, they'll sit and like pick at it and like accidentally pick a combo instead of a welcome pack. So always offer to enroll for them. And there's all those cute little graphics, you know, like there's a cute little flowery one right now that has like what they need to send you. And so like if they will send you that information, that's fabulous. But like, I don't know, raise your hand if you've gotten the social security number question. Like every single person, 98% of my people are like, why do you need my social security number? Like I'm trying to be sneaky or something. So literally I get that almost every conversation when I'm enrolling someone. And so I just like type back to them really quickly. It's just like a requirement for Plexus, because if you choose to work the business and make more than $600 a month, they need to be able to send you tax documents, just as if you were starting a new job. Like how they have to collect your social security number. Oftentimes they're like, oh, it makes sense. Usually they're like, oh, it makes sense. And then if they're super uncomfortable with it, they don't want to do it. Like, I don't give up on them. Like, I just, in the rare cases that happens, I give them the other opportunities. Like, you can order as a customer, or you can order with a subscription, and here are the different pricing levels. Only really rarely at that point does someone be like, nope, I only want the deal. Like, I've had that happen like once or twice. So, and I always compare it to like, it's just like if you see the same dress on 3 different racks, this one is like clearance, best deal. This one's like a little bit like cheaper, and then this one's full price. Like, you have the choice and it's entirely up to you, but like, I would take the cheaper deal personally. But so like, I'm trying to think what else I am forgetting. Enrollment, good experiences. I don't know. I think that that's like, in a nutshell, kind of like where I go and like the path I take. And I'm not going to like hit like the different scripts I use, because they're just kind of like a variation of what Allie has like posted. A lot of times, like sometimes if it's someone who needs a little bit more attention, like I'll have another like conversation, just general conversation in there with them. But really what's helped me the last like month or two is just like not forgetting about people and not letting people go, I guess.
Sure. These are such good tips. Oh my gosh. I love hearing the things that you're doing too, because I think all of us, we have our own little things that we're doing and we think are working, or we think that aren't working or whatever. And it's nice to hear the things other people are doing and saying. I love the tip about going through your friends list and back through old lists to see who might be interested now. I think that's a really good tip for some people who might have had someone say no in the past, and you can revisit those conversations. That's really great. And I am all about ending every single contact with a question. Absolutely. Every single time I'm asking what they struggle with. I've talked about before about taking medications. Do you relate to the story? Do these products look like something that would benefit you? Would you like me to help you order? Like, all of those things. Are you ready right now? Do you have a few minutes for me to do that with you right now? Like, I'm always asking a question. And even if I'm checking on them in a personal manner, I'm always asking a question, because I want them to come back and chat with me, right? Like, that's the whole point. And so that's a very, very important tip that I think, especially when new people start, they don't even think to do that. It's something I had to learn, not something that innately I did. And making sure that the focus is always on them. I think that's something you use in your verbiage a lot. These products can help you because you are struggling with X, Y, Z. Is now a better time for you? You know what I mean? Like, it's about them. It's about them. It's about them. I think that's important. And you're right. People want to help. I had a lot of people order. Obviously, we had a lot of people order last month, but that I was transparent about our goals, about our team goals. And they were like, oh yeah, sure. Sounds good. I'll make sure that I do that, or let's revisit this, next week. Let's make sure I get ordered, before the end of the month. And I had people tell me that, because they're like, oh, I'd love to help, and we forget that people, we're naturally helpers. We're naturally people that care about other people, and we want to see other people succeed. That's in our human nature. So to not forget about that, and being transparent with someone about that is important, when done in a tactful way. That's not just like, hey, I need orders. Do you want to buy something? Like, that's not like that. But when you're having the conversation with someone who has expressed interest in the past, and you'd love to revisit that conversation because they struggle with X, Y, Z, and these products can help them, is now a better time, right? So that conversation can be much more well received when you just phrase it a little differently. And just remembering that people need nurturing. We cannot just spout Plexus at them and expect them to receive it well. They need repeated exposure. They need to feel listened to and heard and related to, and have things explained to them in a way that is simple and also concise, and that is easily understood by them. Does that make sense? Like, you don't want to, I think people, when we are passionate about products, or even the opportunity, or even the Social Security thing, you could have gone into some like 3-paragraph long thing and you don't, right? Because it's not important. They don't need to know that. You tell them only what they need to know, nothing more, nothing less. Nothing that's all about, Candida yeast overgrowth and why they're struggling with all these different issues. Like, if they ask about that, well, sure, but that's unnecessary to tell that to someone who probably doesn't care, and they're just like really want to sleep better and not have postpartum depression and maybe lose 10 pounds. Like, they don't really need to know about leaky gut syndrome, right? Like, that's not necessary right now. And so same goes for pricing, same goes for all of it, and so keeping things concise but relatable and simple for them to respond to, so they don't feel like they have to go through a lot of information and they don't have to work so hard to respond to you, right? And I was talking to Kyle Rainey, I think, and he's reading the book called Story Brand by, I can't even remember the guy's name, but he's got a podcast. And he talks about basically how you promote your company or your product, and that you're sharing stories and how you relate to people and your network and all this. And basically he's like, think of every one of your prospects as running on a treadmill. The second you start talking to them, they are on this journey. You're taking them on this journey. Do you want them to keep sprinting and sprinting and sprinting until they can finally get to the information? Like, no, they're going to be so tired of talking to you and reading and asking questions that they're going to be exhausted by the time you're supposed to be making the sale. You want point A to the sale point to be very short, but long enough to where they get the information they need, but nothing more, nothing less, right? So it's just enough to where they have a nice, fun journey with you, get all their questions asked, and get signed up. And it's not this long, exhausting process. They're not pulling teeth to get information out of you, and you are not vomiting information onto them. So it's like this delicate dance, this balance back and forth, and handling objections as they come, not speaking in a way that is foreseeing objections, if that makes sense. I think our posture when we present things is very important. Just like the way I present pricing, it is in a confident way that it is conveying value. It's not, oh, it's kind of expensive, but is $199 okay for you? Like, no, I would never say that, because I'm already giving off the vibe that it's expensive or unaffordable or unachievable in some way. I would never say that. I said, great, this is an awesome value. This is a total steal. Look at the amazing value you're getting. Do you want me to help you order? Like, there's a totally different posture that goes along with that. So that's important to remember when you're speaking with people, to just keep things concise, keep things confident. Don't worry about objections until they come up, and never, never, never forget about people. Always check back in and be building that relationship. So does anybody have any questions or anything? I should open like a little chat, but this is awesome. I can't wait for the rest of the team to hear this. And for all of you that hopped on, you're getting so much value. I hope you took a ton of notes and share this with your teams as well if they couldn't hop on. But that is it for me. This is kind of long tonight, but I feel like it was super valuable. But
can I ask one quick question? Sorry.
Absolutely.
You were mentioning both of you mentioned the script that you use, and I during this went to the Elite page and checked the pin stuff, and I wasn't seeing it. Is it under the announcements?
It is. I'm going to tag you in it right now. It's called the Prospecting System.
Thank you.
I've actually edited it recently, and I just tagged you. So there's an old one and a new one. I just kind of reread it and was like, I need to fix some things. And I feel like as we move along, we all kind of edit the way we say things, but I made that a while ago, and I'm like, this could be changed a little different. This could be changed a little different. And one of the things was I love the microbiome video. I absolutely love it. But when someone comes to me and says, I would like to lose 20 pounds. How can Plexus help me lose 20 pounds? I'm probably not going to send them the microbiome video. So like that, or the Triplex video for that matter, like that's not really, that script that I had wasn't exactly right for all the conversations that are coming up, basically. And so I tried to revamp that in a way that allowed me to relate to them or relate them to somebody I know, ask more about them and what they're experiencing, and then recommend products. That wasn't providing them with like a resource that was irrelevant for them, I guess. And I found that it's faster when using that symptom chart. Like, it's so quick, and it's not like they have to like go watch a video or go read some long testimony or something. Like, I mean, there are the people that are just like, here's all I care about. I have these, and they vomit on you all the things that they struggle with. Like some people do that, and they message you and they're like, I have all these things, all these health problems. How can this help me? And you're like, okay, I don't really need to send them that. They're kind of skipping to step 4, or whatever. So that happens, but it's rare. Usually we're reaching out to someone and they're asking us what Plexus is, and then we're giving a response. Oh my gosh, Siri's talking to me. And they're, and so we're telling them what Plexus is, asking them if it's something they would benefit from, what areas of health would they like to see improvement in, and then we're sending them a symptom chart, and then we're asking about medication. Like it's this back and forth. Usually it's kind of like that volleyball match or tennis match most of the time. So I wanted to make that script just like really be an example of that, but in a concise way. Like you'll notice that the verbiage I'm using, it's not more than a few sentences every time, sometimes even shorter than that. So it's not like long paragraphs of information. And I think that's really important, is to keep things short, because nobody wants to like scroll and like trying to read a message. Like they don't.
Totally. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else? Anybody? Okay, I will. Oh, Kelly has something. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah.
You have, it's a beautiful graphic, but do you have it just typed somewhere? Can I just?
Which one? Oh, the script?
Mm-hmm.
You can copy the post if you want. I have the PDF. What do you want? I can send you like my document.
Can I get it too?
No, I'm good.
You can copy this.
Yeah, I can
copy from the post. If that makes sense.
Sorry, I was just looking at the graphics. My fault.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So just copy. I have it copy and pasted into a note on my phone.
Yes, that's what I wanted. Okay.
I just do that. So when I need pricing, like when I need the pricing graphic, I just go over to the prospecting system. Like all the text is in a note on my phone called the Plexus prospecting system, and then I just go to the pricing and like copy paste that paragraph.
Yep. Okay.
So
Thank you.
I'm gonna tag you, Blanca, just so you have it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And so you can get, but yeah, I like that little, I just wanted to have it in a graphic because then you could see the flow of the conversation and know kind of like what part you're in. But I would totally recommend copy and pasting that to a note on your phone. So you have, because the little area, it says step 4 pricing, like it says that. So it's easy to find. If it is a note, you can just go down and paste that in. And right now, like, for example, we've had the same special for the last few months in Plexus. So I have created a pricing blurb. I took that, copied it, pasted it into a new note that has the special information. So it's got like, plus right now the membership is only $10 and there's 10% off of your product package. Like it has that in there. So I'm not like typing it every time I'm sending it to someone. So if you have a special early on in the month, I edit that pricing blurb and I will paste it somewhere else in a new note or something until that doesn't exist anymore. So that's a good tip as well, because you're not typing it over and over again. So I have that.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, guys. I will leave you. Oh my gosh, it's 9 o'clock. We are just chatter boxes. But this was awesome. This was so great.
This was
fantastic job. Thank you again, Sally.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Have a good night, guys.